Umagyanatmarandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurvilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Is it on? The mic's on? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I had the good fortune to be in India in 1975, and I stayed up to like 78. So I saw Prabhupada's disappearance pastimes, and I saw also Tamal Krishna Maharaja taking great care to serve Srila Prabhupada. It was very shocking to me that some years back people came up with a poison theory. I thought it was just the most ridiculous thing. It was just so outrageous. There was nobody ever considered, like, I don't know how people came up with these crazy ideas. But anybody who witnessed, and I did witness, I saw how much love and how much care and concern the people serving Srila Prabhupada had for Srila Prabhupada. And the central figure in that was Tamal Krishna Goswami. He gave up all of his services in 1977. He gave up everything. He just left everything and came to be with Prabhupada because he was so intelligent. He could understand that Prabhupada's time was limited. And he just wanted to spend every possible minute he could with Srila Prabhupada. So that was one thing which I can always see with Tamal Krishna Goswami. Even after Prabhupada left, he was very chaste to Srila Prabhupada's mission and Srila Prabhupada's desire. Although after Prabhupada left, there were, when the great Acharya like Srila Prabhupada, when they leave the world, then there's always some disturbance. There's going to be upheaval. It's a very difficult time. And it really was a very difficult time for all the devotees. We were all confused. I couldn't imagine Prabhupada was going to leave us. I thought Prabhupada would always be with us. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he had better vision. He understood he wanted to be with Prabhupada. And he gave full energy to serving Srila Prabhupada in every aspect of his service. I remember when Prabhupada came to Juhu in 1977, it was about the summertime. So Prabhupada had just come back from the west, and he came to stay at Juhu for a few days. Kartal, very, very small kartal, and we would chant. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, monitoring. Who's going in? What? You have to do everything exactly the way Prabhupada wants. It should be very soft, very sweet kirtan. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was monitoring all these kinds of details. And then, of course, Prabhupada moved to Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was in so much anxiety. It was such a tense time. It was so unbelievably intense. That atmosphere, we didn't know what's going to happen. And Prabhupada was telling the devotees he wanted to go around Govardhan Hill. He wanted to do Govardhan Parikrama because it was Kartik time. And if came up to the time of the Govardhan Puja, and Prabhupada was in that condition, you know, he was so ill, so sick, but he's saying, I want to go on Govardhan Parikrama. And Tamal Krishna Maharaja was in so much anxiety, trying to discourage Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, please, Prabhupada, this will not be a very good thing for you to do. It was not so easy thing to do, you know, very difficult. Only Tamal Krishna Maharaj could handle these kind of situations. So he had that ability. He was always close to Prabhupada. He told us, he said when he was a young devotee, Prabhupada called him to come and take lunch with him in Los Angeles. Usually Prabhupada would eat on his own, but one day Tamal Krishna, at that time he was not even a sannyasi, he called him to come and take lunch with him. And Prabhupada wanted him to promise him that he would distribute the books. He said, Prabhupada explained to him, he said, we want to give a big order to Dine Upon to print Back to Godhead magazine, and I want to know, how many copies will you distribute? How many copies will you pledge to distribute every month? So Prabhupada called him and asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj. At that time he was kind of like the temple manager of Los Angeles. He was like overseeing all the affairs, and Vishnu Jan was there, of course, at that time. So Prabhupada had so much trust in Tamal Krishna Maharaj from the beginning that when he wanted to increase the book production, he called him. He wanted him to promise that he would distribute books. So that was one example. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was always thinking, what would Prabhupada do in this situation? After Prabhupada left, there were many problems, there were many crises came up, overseeing the affairs of the ISKCON movement. It was a very difficult time. People who were in the GBC at that time, probably Hari Saripurgu, who could tell you better than me, that the GBC meetings were very passionate affairs with a lot of screaming, shouting, very intense. Right? So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there, you know, he had to be involved in all of this, but, you know, he was a leader. He was one of the prominent leaders, and because he was such a leader in ISKCON, so people would criticize, because that's the nature of the world. The bigger position you take, the more people will look for some fault, and they'll try to find some fault and criticize you, and try to pull you down. So very difficult situation. Tamal Krishna Maharaj had to undergo all of these things. People were not able to often see the good, and they would try to find the fault. But he tolerated all of these things, and he went ahead. He thought what he wanted to do to please Srila Prabhupada. And he, at one point, because he'd come to China, Prabhupada, of course, had told him, you go to China. That was before Prabhupada departed. Prabhupada told him that, yeah, you go to China, that will be good, because there were so much criticism, so many problems in America. And so he thought it might be better you go and start something over in China, in the Far East. And so Tamal Krishna Maharaj did that. But that was how I ended up over there. You know, he told me, he said, we need to develop the Far East. He said, if we have a movement just in the West, it's not very good. He said, we have to be everywhere. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, that every town and village all over the planet. And if we don't have a movement in the East, then it's not very good. What is wrong? So he encouraged me in this way that I should put some energy for that. And he also would come there regularly. He was very concerned. He considered the Far East, China, that was like his Prabhu Datta Desh, the place given to him by Prabhupada. And he did come there, and he was always concerned what's going on there, what's happening there, what are they doing there. In those days, we didn't have anything much at all in China, but it was really just Hong Kong. But he developed Hong Kong very nicely. He put a lot of energy into it. He got Surabhi Prabhu to design the place. Very nice, in a little apartment in Hong Kong. He designed a beautiful temple because of the relationship with Tamal Krishna Goswami. So Surabhi Prabhu kindly designed it for him and arranged all the different artifacts, made like a little museum there in the temple. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was really a perfectionist. Everything he did had to be really, it had to be really just right. If it wasn't perfect, then he wouldn't be satisfied. He wanted perfection. I remember one Maharaji, and she made some cake or something like this. It hadn't come out very well. And he said to her, "What is this? What is it? You give me like this?" He really chastised her. Why? He said, "Because I know you can do better. I want you to do better. I want you to do the best. This is for Krishna. You should do the best." So he was really a connoisseur of perfection. He wanted everything done really nicely. I haven't been to the Dallas temple since he took it over, but from what I understand, it's very beautiful. They have beautiful paintings there, the Rajasthani art paintings on all the walls. And the Kalachandri restaurant is very well managed and very beautiful and attracts a lot of people. So this is an example. Then also they have also the TKG school there in Dallas also. He put a lot his energy into all of these different things. You know, he wanted everything done really nicely for Prabhupada. And so he wanted that we would also continue to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission nicely, that we would put our full efforts into wherever we are, dedicate ourselves to giving this Krishna consciousness. He said, we have come to give. We didn't come to take. We have to have that movement that we want to give. And he really, he did everything he could. And that was why his health suffered. Because of so much energy, so much mental energy which he put into seeing the future of ISKCON, that his health had problems, and he did have like prostate cancer, and he underwent very painful I'm sorry. I don't know the words very well.
Take this off.
So he suffered a lot with that also. Yeah. But then somehow he was getting himself back together again, and he came for the GBC meeting, and he attended the GBC meeting in 2002, and he really took the shoulders, he stole the stage. You know, everybody on the GBC meeting, they were all very impressed, you know, with his intellectual acumen and his quick thinking and sharp responses. He was really a very dynamic personality, and his sudden departure from the world was really a great loss for us. I really I could not imagine he would leave us so suddenly, so early. and it was really a great loss for our movement. Anyway, we try to remember all of its instructions, and we pray that He will also guide us more in the future. So more and more senior devotees are coming. I think it's nice. Give them a chance. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.